Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Cast Revive, your weekly top 5 gaming podcast, and more. I'm your host, Matt Harmel, and here with the man that wishes he could live under the sea in the darkest depths of the abyss, Mr. Brian Husky.
You said evening, and it's like 10:30
Well,
in the morning.
it is, isn't it? We're so used to recording later in the day. I'm not used to recording this early. Just kind of flows, you know, that muscle memory of the tongue that kind of pops out.
Hi, everyone.
So we are continuing our Florida month. Go Florida.
Yay, Florida.
And we got some, what is this week considered?
We got some weather. This is a water and weather week.
Water and weather week.
In Florida, because that's like what you know about Florida, right?
Yep.
Bad weather, lots of water.
That's right. That's right.
Unless you don't know anything about Florida.
But now you do.
Now you do.
The only two things that you need to worry about for Florida
You will
is
learn a
water
lot
and weather.
listening to this month's episode.
Yes, that's true. That's true. We've broken it down into
or nothing at all.
Either way, we hope you have at least one half smile while you're listening to it. That's all I can ask for. So we open with one of the greatest tracks in any game ever, Costa del Sol for Final Fantasy VII.
I like this song.
The song's awesome.
Yeah.
When I was younger in the band, we wanted to do a metal version of this song.
Is the tempo a little slow for metal?
we would kick it up a notch. It'd be awesome. So, it never came out. So,
No.
but exciting. Let's jump into the news before we go ahead and dive into our 5.
The news.
What do you got on your little list of lists there?
Just a quick little thing about Steam. You know what Steam is, I'm sure. They're changing the way that their user reviews are calculated based on whether or not you got your game from a third party or the developer. So, like, if you got a free CD key, they're going to rate. Sorry, excuse me. They're going to rate your review a little bit lower than everyone else's. So, what that means is the Metascore for the game and like how frequently it will show up with like a positive review and stuff is going to change, because if a developer gives out 100 CD keys and those are the only people writing the review,
Right.
it's going to have a really low score.
Right,
You know,
right.
so people are going to look at it and be like, this game did not get rated very highly. I'm not going to buy it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's what I think it means. It could mean that some games get higher ratings. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's kind of cool that they're doing that, because they're dissuading like dishonest representation about a game.
Right.
So.
Yeah, people who just want to play. You know what? I died too often. This game just completely sucks. Just people who are just out there just to screw somebody over.
And I think that's good, because right now Steam is kind of filled with garbage. But that's just one man's opinion.
Hey, you know, it's the place where people go to release all their games. So, you think of all the games that are out there. There's a lot of games that are just like, wow, this is just
How was this made?
yeah. So, but we'll see. That's supposed to take effect soon.
It may have already done so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. In my news, less exciting, I'm sure people are very tired of hearing about this, is Division announced a super large update going next month. And they're basically rehauling the way the game is played. They're adding a world level system to help just basically make the game like that much more enjoyable, and for loot drops and the way bosses are fought. Because now people's biggest complaint is the loot absolutely sucks, and the bosses are just big bullet sponges.
And the rolls suck.
Yeah. There's too much variance in all this stuff. People put so much time into something, and they're literally not getting rewarded at all for the amount of time that it takes. And it really makes no sense. In other games that are fantasy-like, you can spin that out. This guy has extra super shield, and this song is very. Hopefully, this is the song that plays for Division when it's finally resurrected from the ashes.
It's called Angel's Breath.
There you go. I like it. I just got derailed here.
Division,
yes. So bullet sponges for the bosses. So because people are saying like, okay, I'm fighting a guy in a hockey mask that I fought, at level 1. But why is he taking like 45 rounds, grenades to kill this guy, and I'm getting one shot by a dude with a bat?
Yeah.
So they're changing the way these boss fights work to make it more believable and stuff. So they're hoping that this is going to be what it takes to bring people back. I keep saying this. Destiny had problems with launch. Taken King fixed all those problems and made the game awesome, in my opinion. So will Division have that same luck? They already released an expansion, in my opinion, was garbage.
Yeah.
It literally negated the entire top world. And I loved being out there because it was graphically, it was beautiful. I
Yeah,
loved the
that
weather.
New York,
I loved
really
everything.
good.
But forcing me to go underground and there was no mention of the boss of the first one, of the core game that got away. So it's like, okay, the first expansion, we're going to go to this guy. Nope, we're going to go underground and literally do nothing.
Fight the Sewer King.
Yeah, so it was just, they added some cool ideas, but the whole game needs kind of to be fixed and how it works. So I'm really hoping that this does.
So there's a patch coming.
Yep, next month.
Maybe it'll fix it.
Maybe it'll fix
And
it.
if not, Heimdall's trading it in. We never had to hear about the Division again.
Yep, we'll see. I still have two more. I still have two more expansions on my season pass, so I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'm gonna give it a year. So, but yeah, so Division, look for it next month, and don't worry, I'm sure I'll talk about it when it comes out and let you know my thoughts.
It's all in the news.
Yeah, you got news, baby.
That was a soundbite. We did not voice those
We
sound bites.
paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah, we
so
bought those.
Thanks to Royal Crew Productions
Thanks.
for putting that together.
Royal Crew.
So, top 5. Let's jump on in. Number 5, we're going to start with people think of Florida underwater.
Because we're sinking.
That's because we're sinking.
Because we're at like 0 water level.
That's right.
What's that called?
Sea level?
Sea level.
We're at 0 water level today.
I was educated in Florida.
Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah. So underwater, scuba diving, all that kind of stuff that takes place underwater. So what game would you pick for underwater for Florida?
Of course, I'd pick Subnautica, Matt.
All right.
Like the most fantastical representation of underwater. It's kind of like future-y, spacey, but it takes place underwater. Your ship is crashed, and you have to build like an underwater base to survive. So it's like a survivor game,
Nice.
but completely underwater. So you go out and like snorkel for resources and stuff. And you got to mine, and the thing that freaks me out the most about the game is there are like giant underwater creatures that can devour you, because that's what is in the water, and that's why I don't go in them. But yeah, it's a fun game. I like it. I like the aesthetics. There's not there's not a whole lot to do once you get to a certain point, but I think that taking a typical survival game and putting it underwater is a really neat idea.
You're like huge into that genre. I mean,
I like to build things.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
it's cool that basically you've done stuff above ground, you've done stuff underground, you've done stuff underwater.
Yeah.
You've been able to play that kind of game that you enjoy in different areas.
That's
Right. So that's really cool that they have just an underwater version of that type of genre.
If I can get this kind of a game, but where you're managing like a spaceship or a spaceport or something, that'd be epic.
That would be
and
cool.
I could like send little spaceships to planets and mine stuff, and then they come back and be like, "We found 400 iron ore from Mars," and then I can build like a terrarium
Nice.
on my spaceship.
That would be cool. I wonder if there is something out there for the 25,000 games on Steam. There might actually be something out there that we don't know about.
Steam's mad at me for saying it's full of garbage right now.
Oh, no way. Steam's like, you know what? That guy's honest. We need to fix it. Give that guy 8,000 Steam keys.
Thanks, 8,000 Steam keys.
All for Subnautica.
Whoa.
I'd like to say I don't think I've seen that one.
That's
I've
fun.
seen the other ones that you've played, but I don't think I've seen Subnautica. That sounds kind of cool.
I'll screen share it with you sometime.
I hope you will. I hope
I
you
will.
will. You want to know what my 5 is? I'm
I'm
talking.
just listening to the music.
Oh, what song is this?
I something from Phantom Brave,
Oh,
which
okay.
is the album that we're listening to for this show.
Very appropriate for entering the world of Aquaria. Aquaria, bum 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 ba-dum. I'm in here and understanding. Not the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody listening just got
You
extremely
were so off
embarrassed
key. I
for me.
thought you were singing something else.
You're like, wait, he's going somewhere with this. Nope, he's just an idiot. So Aquaria is an underwater game. It's a 2D side scroller, and basically you're playing a mermaid-like person. The character's name is, I think it's pronounced Naija, Naija. I guess
N-I-A-J-A.
Naija, I guess, would be the way that you have to do it. And basically, she like awakens and has like no memory of like who she is or like her history. So basically, as you're going through the story, you're uncovering. You're starting to remember bits and pieces of your past and stuff like that. But the thing I really liked about it is, for a game that I'm not huge on puzzle games, we have to solve it. I've never been, but I like In this game, in order to solve puzzles, she can kind of like shapeshift in like different forms, and you can only get through certain areas in these certain forms. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Like shapeshift to like triangle form.
No, it's
rectangle form.
like different creatures that would like allow her to like get through barriers. And the thing is, that each creature you shapeshift into, they have their own moveset. So essentially, you're playing the different characters, which kept it fresh, which was actually really really cool.
Form of bucket of water.
Essentially, you're just like bucket of water, and you throw it into the water shield, and it's like whoa. Yeah. So it was cool. It was very nonlinear. So. Like, there was so much exploration to go in this kind of game. And I think the reason why I liked it is because I'm a huge fan of Echo the Dolphin, you know, and it reminded me a lot of just the way the underwater world works and everything like that. We really need to get a video camera going to capture the dancing that you're doing to this song. That was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And, like, you know, as the story progresses, you meet another character, and then this game's been out for a while. I mean, should I be worried about spoilers at this point? This game's been out since like 2012, I think.
It's also like an early indie game, right?
Yeah, it is an indie game. So I mean, like at the end, you meet up with this character that you meet throughout the story, and basically they merge together to form like a new type of creature to like go into like the final fight and like to end the game. And it was really cool, like the way they did that. And it was just a really, really interesting game. I mean, if you would play it, you'd be like, I cannot see Matt enjoying this type of game. Because they're so puzzle heavy. Lots of back and forth. And just like, God, where the hell do I go?
But you like water.
I do like water.
And you like
and
the
I like
Little
Metroid.
Mermaid.
So I just thought to myself, just imagine I'm in space with Metroid, and it got me through it.
So it's like Metroid meets Echo the Dolphin meets The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Yeah. With the soundtrack of Echo Tides of Time on Sega CD.
Yeah?
Beautiful soundtrack.
I wanna be where the people are.
That's how it starts out. Yes. So Aquaria, really good indie game. You can get it on Steam, probably for like $15. I definitely recommend checking it out. I first saw it on a GDQ. Somebody was speedrunning it. Surprise!
So I saw it
and I was like, wow, that just looks really, really cool. So I went and I checked it out, and I was right. It was a really, really fun game. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
I hope so. Check it out right after this. You're going to go play it through it entirely.
Nah, after this, we're going to play some D&D.
Yes, D&D. So excited.
Yeah, I am too. And it's appropriate that I'm playing a fish.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's right. He's playing a carp.
Carp form hingy, okay?
Yeah. That's just awesome. People are going to be like, whoa, those guys play D&D. They should do D&D podcast.
No one's going to say that.
Done. We'll do a D&D podcast. Right into the show. Let us know if you want us to do a D&D podcast. I will so totally do that. Even if it's by
our
myself.
fireside chats will just become like After the Dungeon.
Yeah. Oh. That's a podcast name. Okay.
What else do you think about when you're in Florida?
What do I think about?
Yeah.
That's a tough question because I would say the first thing that pops in my head would be water sports.
Really? Is that because you looked at our list?
No, it's because I was just thinking. I was like, well, what a coincidence. Number 4 on our list is water sports for Florida. There's a lot of water sports that happen in Florida.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, after watching, like, the Olympics, like, seeing, like, wow, there are a ton of actual water sports. Like, it's not just, like, you know, rowing, and, like, that's it. Like, there's a crap ton of stuff that takes place in the water, which is really cool.
Water polo.
Water polo is insane.
Well, I
the
think
stamina for those dudes alone.
if I could
nuts.
be good at anything, I'd be good at water polo.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
That would be cool. That would be really, really cool. What would be your top choice game wise for water sports?
Wave Race 64, because that was my very first one.
Wave Race
Except
64.
for the Ninja Turtles underwater stage, which I fucking hate.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can relate to you with that.
But yeah, Wave Race 64 is pretty awesome. I think it was the first game I had for 64.
I never had a 64, so I have one now, and I actually own Wave Race 64.
It's a game about racing
no.
on wave
Whoa.
runners.
Oh, I thought the waves were racing each other, being made by like different boats, and they were saying,
No.
okay.
No. But you're on a little wave runner. I don't know what it's actually called. What is it called? Like a water bike? It's a wave runner, right?
Yeah, I just say wave runner.
So you race on a wave runner. I like the level design of some of these places. Like one, you're going through like a shipyard, so
Right.
you're racing through like these cargo ships and around those. Really cool. And I think it was like, yeah, I don't know. It's just I have really good memories about this. I never played it with like friends or anything. It was like a racing game that I played by myself, so I was actually good at it.
Nice.
That's right.
I'm kicking the AI's butt.
That's right. I was.
That's how you do it, man.
That's how I do it.
Was there like a long like campaign mode, or did you just do like exhibition like style matches and stuff like that?
I really want to say it was just like races. Like you picked a stage, you raced on it, and that was it.
Could you upgrade your vehicle at all? Like, or was it just you picked?
No, there wasn't a lot of customization.
Okay.
Really. I mean, it was very like simple and to the point. Like I think the biggest difference at this time was that it was a racing game on water. You
Right.
know? So like the scenery was very different.
Yeah.
The racing style is very different.
And the fact that you could do 4 players simultaneously, so that's
Yeah.
for the 64. That's the best feature of the 64 is that they had the 4 plugins right there with you. Whereas the PlayStation, you had to buy that adapter. You know, GameCube had the same thing. You know, which is really cool. Nintendo's been very good about the multiplayer aspect.
Yeah.
So good for them. Those guys are cool.
I remember something about buoys. Like you had to
Buoys?
Like during the race, like there was like 8 of you or whatever, but then or maybe only 4. But then you had to like go around these buoys. So it wasn't just like here's the track. Like you have to go through this track. You actually have to mark the buoys. So
Right.
if you don't do that, you don't get. You know, you have to go back and touch it, and like the other racers like leave you behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wave Race 64.
It's a shame the buoys weren't lined with like bombs. If you hit it, they blew up and blew your speed.
Yeah,
back.
no like powers in this game. It's just a very simple.
It's a basic racing game,
but it was fun.
Cool.
I mean, you didn't need a turtle shell.
No,
That's obnoxious.
it's cool because you know water games are hard. You really have to like, you want to hit the waves just right and stuff like that, and really get like the speed boost when you hit it like going on the down and stuff like that. So that's cool. Good.
Yeah.
I do need to play more 64 games. Like I said, I have a bunch of them, but
I know it's on the virtual console, so if you still have your like Wii hooked up, like you can get it on that.
the Wii.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of high-pitched squeals, did you know I used to make them all the time in this game that I'm about to mention?
No.
TNC Surf Designs
Yeah.
was my pick for water sports because I got to play a monkey on a surfboard. And it was, at the time, impossible.
Hold down A and press forward.
Yeah.
Hold down A and press
But
backward.
but then you know, thanks to the internet, now you found ways to how the game is really supposed to be played. But yeah, I mean, I picked this because this was one of the games that we used to play all the time. Like there was California games and you know the other type of like weird kind of sport games, but this game just really stood out because you know we just loved the idea of playing a monkey on a surfboard. And we always had competition about who would get farther, but nobody ever got past like the first like pillar of like that boardwalk that was right there. And just the hours of laughter and watching the monkey just fly off of it, like behind the wave, fly off the wave and everything like that. It was just insane. Yeah, my dog's barking at the door.
Nice.
Yeah, she's fine. so
She sees the mailman.
she might. So yeah. So monkey on a surfboard, TNC Surf Designs for the original Nintendo.
How many surf stages are there in this
I
game?
believe there's just the one
Just the
stage.
one?
Just the one stage.
It's a really
And-
big pixelated wave.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I mean, you could pick like you know different characters and stuff, but there was a dude with like a one of those tribal tiki masks on,
Nice.
and there was a gorilla, and I forget what the other one, the ones that were
There's a
less.
gorilla in there.
Yeah, so and that was it. I just remember so much playing the gorilla, and so whenever I think of like you know, like old like games that I would play, like water, like that always pops up for me because it just has a lot of odd memories with it, you know. I always try to pick one odd game to try to like, how is this going to make sense in here?
It makes
And-
sense. People
and
surf in Florida.
They do surf in Florida. That is true.
Not like where we are. Like I don't know that the waves are that good to surf on where we are. But you could wave race on them.
You can wave race on them, so
I'd like to see a surfer and a wave racer go like toe to toe.
that would be.
Which one do you think would win?
I think the surfer would win.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
On a
dumb.
really because good is dumb. So if you haven't played it,
Don't bother because it's old.
yeah, at least check out a YouTube video so you can see what I'm talking about for this game. A monkey on a surfboard. It's worth a few dozen laughs. So, yeah.
I'd like to see that redone like nowadays. I bet you there's some like pretty good surf games out now.
I don't know. That would just be weird.
Why?
I don't know. Just because how overly complicated they make some of these sport games and
Yeah,
stuff now. I
that's
imagine
true.
it's just like you have to like. All right, you have to in your knee a little bit, like 4 degrees, and you have to like to keep
Yeah.
your balance, and your right arm has to go up a little bit. Put your thumb out, and then drop your shorts 4 inches, and
Drop your shorts
like all this crazy
Don't
stuff.
show off too much weight.
Yeah, whoa!
I remember when I was in high school, I drew a picture of a guy on a surfboard with the scuba mask, and he was holding a lacrosse defense pole.
Oh, really?
Like he was going to play lacrosse on the water.
That's awesome.
That would be neat.
Water cross.
Surf lacrosse.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be crazy if they actually had that?
That would be
We need
crazy.
to get like those water hoverboards that go over the water.
water
People-
hoverboard.
Yeah, and they have like the lacrosse on that. Like
The ball would have to be like bright and like floaty because you'd lose track of it really easily.
That's
I
true.
think.
Yeah.
Maybe the paddle would be like really huge, like 4 by 4 feet, and you just like scoop the like bright green ball out of the ocean, like throw it.
Like one of those old pizza that they put the things in the oven.
yeah,
in the
exactly,
pizza
like a
oven, those
wood
big
brick oven
yeah.
pizza paddle.
Yeah.
Pizza paddle.
We should write down some ideas. See, we can like pass that off to like the National Sports Agency or something.
Yeah, it would work in a video game. don't know about IRL.
You know what doesn't work in IRL?
Your transitions.
Yes, they do. No, they usually work pretty well. That one was a little forced. But number 3 is super scary.
The number 3 is super scary. It's
What-
the reason I don't like the oceans.
Yeah, and reason that a lot of people do have fears of the ocean is sharks.
Sharks.
Yep. So sharks are pretty prevalent here in Florida.
And then that fish movie came along, and they're like, sharks are funny, and they're all Australian. Remember that
Finding
movie?
Nemo?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Gross. Right?
I didn't see the original. I saw Finding Dory. I didn't see Finding Nemo.
The sharks were in that, too, right? The whale shark, maybe?
I think maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. That was literally like 2 months ago. So
Anyway, the sharks, and they're friendly and funny and kooky.
yeah, and I know that's not really true,
That ain't true.
especially in the game that you picked.
Yeah. Depth?
Yeah.
Depth is crazy.
There's nothing funny about this game. This game is literally scary as crap.
So it's what would you call it? Like an arena style game?
Yeah.
There's 4 divers, and you're going to look for treasure in like these sunken places, like old boats, caves underwater and stuff. And the 5th player is a great white shark, and so your job as a shark is to eat all the divers, and your job as a diver is to collect the treasure and kill the shark, or just not get eaten.
Yeah.
And it's freaking intense, man, and it's brutal. It's like gory and.
Yeah. And it's dark, like when you're under water,
because you have your lights.
You have
but
your
that's
lights,
it.
so it's really cool how they
Yeah.
they give you that suspense of being like, all right, there's no light down there except for my little
Yeah.
lamp. So you turn around and you see a massive shark just
And,
torpedoing
like,
towards you.
when you're like diving, you're like, oh, I'm gonna get treasure, and then like you just hear the shark coming around, like it gets such butterflies, and usually die.
It's the sound of a good game,
I've,
though.
I've played it a handful of times because it's honestly like too nerve-wracking for me to play.
Yeah.
I'd like to play it with everyone else, but I think it's still like a $20 game.
And
It's a little expensive.
the thing is
for
about
everyone.
these games is I feel like for those types of games, I think the most important element of it is the sound design.
Yeah.
Because you really want to give that feel of horror and be able to really, there's something behind me. Like, graphically, controls, but like sound, I think, is the most important for those type of the jump scare, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just if sound is done poorly, I'm just like, that wasn't creepy.
And for this game in particular, like you're underwater, so it has to sound like muted.
Yeah.
But still like clear enough that like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
good choice. That's when I saw this game, it reminded me a lot of Evolve.
Evolve, yeah.
like that. Like
This is an underwater Evolve.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much, yeah. But it's just super freaky.
yeah, no, that's really cool.
And I can't even handle being like underwater in like World of Warcraft when they're like, go pick up 4 clams in the goldfish pond. I'm like, Can't handle it.
I can't believe you even played that game. Like you just like, nope.
I'm getting jittery just talking about it.
Well, that was a good That was a good number 3.
I think yours is a little
Three.
more famous though.
Mine's a little more famous and a little less scary than
That's
yours.
true.
And I picked another NES game, Jaws. Surprise at Heimerl picks
Surprise,
retro. Okay, you know I like
surprise.
retro games. Just leave me alone.
I actually played this game.
Yeah.
I actually liked it.
This game was frustrating at times because the thing is you could fight Jaws right in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
You know, you have your harpoon gun, you're just launching, and trying to get him, trying to kill him, but it would take forever and ever and ever. So you would want to kill like stingrays or collect these conch shells that you would take to port to upgrade your damage, your boat, stuff like that. And basically, it was just a grind fest.
Yeah.
You just constantly did that until you got strong enough to take on
take
Jaws.
on Jaws.
And then you could line them up with your ship to shoot a massive harpoon out to get them to do massive amounts of damage.
So it was like side scrolling, right?
Yeah.
And then whenever you engaged Jaws, it was like first person shooter style. Like
Right.
you had the harpoon on the front of your boat.
Yep.
And Jaws is like,
Yep. Hey there. It's
Like whack-a-mole?
Like whack-a-mole, yeah.
hello, over here. Too slow. Did you get a submarine at some point? Or am I remembering
I
poorly?
don't believe you got a submarine. No, I remember
Okay.
there were bonus stages where you were dropping cannonballs on I think dropping a cannonball on Jaws or fish or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a bonus stage that was like that.
With an airplane?
yeah, like an airplane, you were just dropping.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's just a really really weird game. But I mean, if you could I've seen people beat this game in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Or you can some people are just really quick on button mashing, really really quick.
Right.
They could down Jaws in the very beginning of the game and not have to get any upgrade. Just they're just so quick with.
What does that do for your score? I mean, this is a score game, right?
This is a score game. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just essentially I just beat it really quickly, and I'm cool for beating it quickly. But yeah, I mean, the ultimate is that you want to get a lot of points, you want to upgrade all your stuff and track him and stuff like that, and defeat him that way. But
do people play this at AGDQ?
they haven't, but it's pretty. It would be really really quick for it. It would be one of those games that was in the bonus segment.
Yeah.
Nobody's really gonna.
It's not really a.
You got to
a
bring
trial.
you got to bring in the cash cows for people to donate. That's what they want to see. So
I would imagine the Mexican runner, just sees Jaws on us, it's just thank God.
yeah.
It's like a 4-minute game.
Yeah, he would be interesting to watch on this game. He's a speedrunner. If you have the Mexican runner, he's doing an NES challenge to where he's beating all the licensed NES games. It's pretty cool stuff. So if you're into NES stuff, check him out. He's pretty scuba.
Did you watch all of these movies?
Oh, all the Jaws?
Yeah.
No, I just saw the first one.
Just saw the first one.
Yep.
I maybe 10 years ago, I saw the third one that takes place in SeaWorld in Florida.
Oh, really?
Or it's like a futuristic SeaWorld. It's like the theme park they wanted to have.
Right.
But yeah, it's just freaking nutty. Anytime your horror movie features a thing in the water, just get out of the water.
Right.
Don't go in the water.
Yeah.
You're fine. I'd like to see a shark come out of the water and start walking around. You thought I would do to the ocean,
He just swims out and you see two large legs behind him. He just stands up. Oh, hey guys!
like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime legs, though, holding up this massive shark. He's like, yeah.
That would be so awesome.
Do you remember that? I'm going way off tangent here.
The
Do you remember
cartoon?
the cartoon?
Yeah,
the sharks, the muscle sharks.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's exactly what that reminded me of.
What is that?
I can't remember what the name of that. I was trying to think of that when you were talking about it. I could not think of what the name of that.
It's
one
probably like soldier sharks or super sharks or something like that.
is. What was the name of that?
And it was just
ripped sharks. Yeah. Oh, what was the name of that? That's gonna.
I don't remember.
Oh well, the listeners write in. Let us know what show that is if you're listening.
Have you ever seen a shark in Florida?
Yes, I have.
Outside of a theme park,
Yes.
in the water. You've
I
seen one at the
yep.
beaches.
Yep, I saw one at Daytona Beach.
I never have.
It was like a little nurse shark. Wasn't anything too crazy, but I was like, shark! I didn't yell it. I think I cried and I ran out of the water.
Street sharks.
Street
It's
sharks.
called street sharks.
Wow.
There you go.
That's a blast from the past right there. We
Was it-
pulled that one from the depths of our cranium.
Yeah. I remember these action figures too. Do you think there was a Street Sharks video game that we
If
didn't
there
see?
was, that's going to have to be looked up because if I can get an emulation of that would be absolutely amazing.
Oh God.
Oh,
Aw.
nice track.
It is a nice track.
So we're already on number 2.
We're already on number 2.
So the thing is, what would people think of when I think of Florida as a number 2? We've done
If they didn't think about
underwater, water sports, or sharks. But where do you see sharks besides in the sea? You see them when you're at
SeaWorld,
Besides that,
a non-famous aquarium,
think of glass.
an aquarium.
Yes.
Yeah,
At the beach.
at the beach. Okay, so the beach.
The beach.
All right.
Yeah. Florida's known. Florida has some really, really nice beaches.
And some really bad ones,
and
too.
some really bad ones.
I think I like Clearwater. I mean, who doesn't like Clearwater? Come on.
Yeah.
And Playlinda, which is near Cape Canaveral.
I like St. Augustine. And, I've been on the Clearwater Beach as well. It's really, really nice down there.
Does St. Augustine have a beach, or is it just like a fortress?
No, St. Augustine's not a beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got several different beaches. So
Never been to the beach in St. Augustine.
like the one that I stay at when we go there has like a lot of shells on it, but it's like a private beach. But then there's other beaches that are more open that don't have as many shells that you can drive on and park and stuff like that. So, but yeah, a lot of really cool stuff. What would your beach game be?
The song. The song is my beach game.
Aw, sounds like something from Phantom Brave.
It is from Phantom Brave.
There you go.
The reason I picked this is because you live on an island surrounded by water,
See that?
and sometimes there's weather.
That's why you're my audio guy.
Thanks, dude. And I played Phantom Brave when we had those like string of hurricanes, and I couldn't go to work.
Oh, nice.
So I just Phantom Brave.
Look at that. It fits in perfectly.
Yeah. Got to make it work somehow. Dead Island
Ooh.
is my beach game. Just because the first, we'll call it an act, because this is basically like a 3D version of Diablo, like, you know, the acts.
Right.
Right. The way that it plays. The first act takes place on this beach resort. At this beach resort, I should say. And it's really cool. Like, you're fighting zombies on the beach, and you're finding things like ores to kill a zombie with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You can upgrade this ore into, like, some really grotesque weapon.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know. It's just... I really like the scenery. There's a storm going on in the city, which is why you can't, like, progress that way until you do, and then you get to the city, and it's, like, all flooded and, like, storm damaged.
Oh, wow.
And it's really cool to, like, see that. Dead Island is a game about zombies on an island, I guess.
Zombie Island.
Yeah. If you haven't heard of Dead Island, go pick up like the definitive edition, right? For like $20 on Steam. You get like both the game and the expansion, and then like maybe Dead Island Riptide, which was their MOBA.
Oh, really?
They had a little MOBA. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if it's still up and running, but I think it's free to play.
Interesting. They had a second Dead Island too, didn't they? Didn't they release a Dead Island 2, or is that?
I thought it was Dead Island, like it's like an extra
Oh, okay.
campaign, basically.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
think it was like a
new game.
a whole game. Yeah. But the characters have like trees, you know, like skill trees. You build up. There's Logan. He's good at throwing things because he's a football player. There's I am so bad at remembering the names. There's Perna. I think her name is Perna, and she's good with guns because she's a security officer. There's Shawen or something. She's an assassin, so she's good with sharp weapons.
Interesting.
And then there's the rapper, who's good with blunt weapons, and I think that's an inside joke. He's good with blunt
Got it.
weapons.
Got it.
Blunt.
Massive quotation marks.
Yeah. And I can't remember his name either. I think it's like Papa Voodoo or something. I can't remember. But it's a fun game. You can play it multiplayer on the computer. I think I used to have it for PS3. I think I went to like the midnight release
That's right.
of this.
They did have the console release. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I saw the trailer for this game, I mean, it was just like one of those CGI trailers that had nothing to do with the gameplay or whatever. But it was really cool. It's very like touching because it showed like this. I say touching, and it's going to involve a child's death. But it shows like this person falling off of out of a building, but then it's played in reverse. So you see everything happening in reverse. So like the person going up,
right,
back into the building, like into the window, and then like you get to see like what happened. And it is just a really cool trailer. I'm like, I am so getting that game.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
very fun.
Nice. Been meaning to. I know you used to play that a lot. And I wanted to check it out because it looked kind of cool. So especially zombie games. It's a good choice. Very good choice.
Thanks, dude.
No problem, buddy.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this sexy man that walked into your house.
Ooh. The next guy for D&D has entered. A new challenger emerges.
That's right.
You want to know what my kind of beach style game is?
Maxie's smacking my butt with her tail.
Oh, good dog.
I don't know how to feel about
Maxie
this.
is our official sponsor of
mascot?
Of our mascot.
Yeah.
Our sponsored mascot.
Sponsor Scott.
Sponsor Scott.
There
you
you
got it. We're starting a new thing here. So Final Fantasy 14 is my beach game. People are like, why? This doesn't make any sense. You're stupid. But Costa del Sol is on a beach.
Costa del Sol is on a beach.
And the cool games you play are the fates that you play on the beach while you're there.
Why didn't you pick Final Fantasy VII?
Because I wanted to pick Final Fantasy 14.
Because it's twice as beachy.
That's right.
14,
Yeah.
7 times 2.
That's true. Yeah, because
Math.
I like that. Because and 7, like the reason why like I really liked Costa del Sol in 7 is because like you're going through like all this evil and all like this like all this fighting, you know, that's going on. But then like in 7, you get there and it's just like a little reprieve, like a little.
Hojo sitting on a beach lounger,
yeah, I
sipping
mean,
a martini.
it's always reminded me. Have you seen the movie Natural Born Killers?
with Van Damme,
No,
with Harrison Ford,
no, with Woody Harrelson.
with Woody Harrelson.
Yeah,
of course I've seen
There's
it.
this one scene where like there's like all these devils and like all like this murder stuff going on like really quick, and at the very middle of it, there's a cut to like a polar bear. And it's supposed to be like people are saying like if you trip while you're watching it, it's supposed to be like really heavy, and then like when you get to the polar bears, it's like a nice calm, like you kind of slow down. And that's
Are you supposed to trip while you watch this movie?
Apparently, you're supposed to.
Oh, okay.
It always I didn't trip while watching it, but it always reminded me of that because like when you get to this point, it's a nice little quiet. There's no fighting. There's nothing going on. You really can just like you can kick a ball at a dog for a couple minutes if you want. You can just kind of like walk around.
Oh, you're referencing Red
7.
13. Yes,
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, and then you know it was just like a really like relaxing thing. So like that was really cool. And then when 14 came out, and then they were like, "Oh, there's going to be Costa del Sol," and I was like, "Oh my god, that is so awesome that they have that." So on the beach there's these things called fates that they have like all throughout the world that you can group up with a lot of people and take on like these really strong challenges for experience. You can fight a bunch of crabs or a giant monster or whatever. And I spent so much time there grinding all these fates out to level up, and it was just such a really cool place. You know, just visually, and that's why I made it on my list. You know,
I'm glad it did.
yeah. So Costa del Sol, you know, really 7 and 14, but I'm choosing the 14 version. But you know, it was more not so much like games, just like it's the calming place and like such a stressful environment. It's you know, there's not a lot going on in these areas. It was a nice kind of getaway spot. So
14 had the event there in Costa del Sol where your reward, if you were a man character, was like a Speedo and then like a weird man's ear that covered like one nipple.
Yeah.
And it didn't really do anything for the other side of your chest. And I wore that on my elven guy.
Nice.
It's very disturbing.
Yeah.
Super tall.
Well, the fact that you made an elven
super
guy.
Speedo. I used to have a Lalafell.
Yep.
But then I wanted to like see my armor more. Like I've never been that way because I played Ataru in all of 11.
Yeah.
And I was just like, whatever, armor's armor. Then I I wanted to see the way my armor looked.
The armor looks so cool in 14.
I used that. What is it called? It's like
the Fantasia potion.
Fantasia. Yeah. And I made an Elvan because I didn't want to be a man cat.
Right.
And I didn't want to be a Galka, whatever they're called, or a Quat or whatever.
No, I think
They're not called Galka.
Galka, I believe. Yeah.
They're not called Galka anymore.
I think so.
They're called like Don Grogungolgans or something.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And I didn't want to be a human, so I had to be an elven.
Nice. Elvons look better in this game than they did in 11, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
They look like less cartoony and
Yeah.
more like a real elven
Yeah.
person would.
I'm an elven warrior with huge teeth.
Yeah. They have big teeth.
That's how they did it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't played 14, but you want to play 14, I highly recommend checking it out. It's one of these things that's always tugging at me to go back to this game. I really, really, really had a lot of fun with this game, and
I miss my Ahriman mount.
yeah.
Fly on that giant eyeball.
Well, one of these days we'll get you caught up. It's not as bad as you think, or you can let me play, and I'll get you caught up. So,
Get me caught up on my crafting.
Yeah, I won't do that.
I think all of my crafting is higher than my fighting thing.
Crafting is actually like really, 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 really useful now. So, Liz just like WoW did. Yay!
Yeah.
So yeah, Costa del Sol, Final Fantasy 14. That is my beach game.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's the? I didn't realize there were so many vocal tracks in this game. And so you get to the end of a RPG and you start with the
You got the ending video and you have the credits. And
Yeah.
they have a lot of vocal tracks. Yeah.
This must be from the ending of Phantom Brave.
Speaking of endings,
Oh, our number one.
we're getting to our number one. Now, what do you think of when you think of Florida? People are like, I want to move to Florida because of the
Sun. Praise the sun.
praise the sun. That just reminded me of that paperback paradise thing.
Oh my
God. Like, oh crap, the sun's exploding. So the number one thing people, and this is of a poll of around 5,000 people that Brian and I took. The number one thing people think of when they think of Florida is weather.
Yeah.
Weather.
And whether or not we're going to end this podcast.
Got him.
Whoa.
And weather is huge in games. I mean, like weather, like as games have progressed, weather effects have been becoming more and more involved in how a story and how a game actually plays.
Yeah.
So the reason we'll explain the reasons that we chose these games. It might not be games that just an entire game taking place in rain. That might not be it. But like, what is it about a certain weather in a game that makes you like really enjoy it?
Well, like I'll start by saying that when we play MMOs, like it's cool to go into a zone and like everything's peachy keen, and then it starts to rain.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
especially when you can see it coming in towards you. It's like, whoa, that storm is starting to come in.
In Dark Ages, when it was raining, like your visibility was reduced greatly.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't see crap.
Yeah.
And that was like cool.
Yeah.
And then like WoW, like they tried to for a while to add weather, and I think now they've gotten back to it. Like now there is some weather. You see like snow.
Right.
You know, but like when you see like the trees starting to move and you like thunder in the background, it's really cool and atmospheric.
Right.
So
right. Yeah.
That's why I like weather in my games.
No, that's exactly it. You know.
And the game that I picked has a lot of heavy rain.
Whoa! What game is it?
Heavy rain.
Oh, got it.
It's a game about depression.
Well, I mean, bad weather can cause that.
So can looking at this game for extended periods of time. Nothing to like say nothing about the graphics or whatever, but the characters in this game approach that uncanny valley where like the created character looks too close to real life and it messes with your brain. Like when I look at these characters, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But essentially, this is a game about 4 characters investigating a serial killer. And you start playing as Ethan, who is married, has 2 kids, and he's an architect. And one day he goes to the mall and buys a balloon for his son from a really scary clown. And that son ends up running into traffic and dying.
Oh, horrible.
It is horrible, but it's a game about,
Yeah.
So Ethan gets super emo and depressed and like becomes estranged from his wife. And so like the transition... Like you see, like he's living in this like sunny like suburban area, like the green grass and everything, and then like then after the son's death, it's just raining. He lives like on the industrial side of town in like a really crappy house and car. But basically, you take these 4 characters through the storyline where you're trying to. Ethan thinks that his next son is like going to be a victim or targeted by the serial killer, so you're trying to prevent that. And like these other characters, one's an investigator. There's 2 girls. I think there's 2 girls that are not your wife. And you can play all these characters, but they can die. And so what that does is it alters the storyline, and you can no longer play elements of the story with that character. You have to use someone else. So it changes the ending for you.
Wow.
You know, it prevents certain things from you becoming available, because if you needed the investigator to do something and he's like arrested or dead, you know, like you can't do that now.
So there's a lot of replay
shifts.
value for this type
for
of game. That's really cool.
And that's really why I like it. It's like what's the game that you just bought that we're going to play?
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. It was like I think it was like the start of those kinds of games, you know, what made them like really prevalent. But it's super fun, and just like hard to play though.
Yeah.
You also it featured a lot of like innovative controller use. Like you had to like shift your controller to the right to like open things, and you can like, you had to pressure sensitivity. So like in the art, you're like an architect. So like in the beginning, you're drawing a house. Like you have to draw like a line. And you have to do it slowly.
Right. Right. Oh, okay.
Because it wants you to take your time with the controls. And like when you're investigating things, you have to do the same thing. You have to pick something up carefully, so it doesn't mess it up.
Yeah, interesting. That's kind of cool.
It's a really innovative.
It made you feel like you were really involved in the story, like you were actually this person having to do this stuff.
Exactly.
That's really neat. That's really neat.
So when I think of weather in Florida, I think of depression and serial killers.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
That's
heavy
good.
rain.
I think a lot of people. I mean, according to our poll, that was a big thing as well. So that's. Sorry.
He was the origami killer. I think
the origami killer. Interesting.
Yes, because like the front of the cover of this game is like an origami crane.
Oh, okay.
Like sitting in a puddle. So
interesting.
You leave it origami.
That's creepy.
This is my calling card. A little origami duck. Quack 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 quack. You're dead.
That's even frightening.
Yeah.
More frightening.
Yeah.
Well, good.
It was the clown. It was the clown that gave your kid the balloon.
Nice. Was this on PC or was it on console?
PS3.
PS3. Okay.
Yeah, PS3.
Nice. Might have to. You have it?
I don't think I have it anymore. I think it was one of those games that I traded in.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm done with you.
I'm starting to really enjoy those types of games. It sounds like something I'd like to play and check out. So
there are a lot of good ones out there.
Good. Nice.
What's your top one game, Weather Florida?
Thank you so much for asking. That
had
is really
to.
nice of you. My number one Florida weather type game is Battlefield 4. But specifically the Paracel Storm map. I'm going to tell you why.
You should tell me why.
Because the board is neat. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next.
Bye.
Good explanation. No, this is the map that has like several different islands in it, and and depending on what mode you're playing, Conquest or Rush, the objectives are set up differently. But so you're playing, and there's sun shining. There's a bunch of boats and jet skis and planes and helicopters, and you're just kind of running through. It's a really nice looking map, and then halfway through, a hurricane starts to hit.
So
the sky
awesome.
gets dark. The waves start to get really high, and it affects how your boats.
Like the water level.
Yeah,
changes,
the water
right?
level changes. Yeah. And how you fly. You can feel the wind hitting the cop and stuff. And but the coolest thing that happens is probably 3/4 of the way through the map, there's a huge ship that catches on fire. Like it's being pushed around by this storm, and it throws itself onto the shore and crashes like through a building and alters the map. There's now this huge ship in the middle of it, and it was just so cool. I'd never seen a game that had weather involved that heavily in how things are played. I mean, okay, it's raining, but it's not affecting my gun, not affecting my movement, but it's affecting everything that you do. And it was just so brilliant the way it was laid out, even though the map is frustrating at times because it's very large, and you can only get to other islands by either slow swimming or using boats. But during the storm, I mean, I'm talking like massive waves. I mean, you go on top of it, and then you'll just drop in your boat for like 4 seconds. That's how high you are. It was so cool. Your helicopter, you're trying to fly, but you get those wind gusts, and then you're trying to stay. It's just like a lot of effects, and it just, it says a lot about these people who, know how to compensate for that kind of when they're flying these things. And it was just a brilliant way to have weather in a.
And kudos to the developers too for like throwing that in there. It's like they realized this would be a cool thing to have a FPS battle in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it completely changing the level. I mean, beautiful, bright sun, blue skies, and all of a sudden, you start to hear the wind come in, and you're just like, what's going on? And then you look up, and the sky's getting dark, and waves. And it's not just like someone just turns the switch over and there's a hurricane. Like, it slowly starts coming in. And at its peak, it's just, when it hits the peak is when that ship comes on board. It's like, oh, my God. Like, what the hell? Like I didn't even realize, because the map is so big, I was just playing one time, and I was like, what the hell is going on? There's a ship just coming like right at. I was like, ah! And like I played the board,
You're shooting at it, throwing a grenade at it.
Stop! I had played the board like 400 times before that, and I had never seen that. You just have to be at that spot at the right time on a certain part of the map, and then it's like, oh man, that was just really cool. And then to top it all off, they have a megalodon shark that can come out of the water and just as a little Jaws, spoof.
And that shark is just freaking huge.
It is huge.
Yeah, it's like bigger than one of the islands.
Yeah, if you put like a bunch of people in one spot, like essentially it just summons like this shark and
Again, it's at a buoy.
at a buoy.
At a buoy.
Yeah, and then just this massive shark just jumps out of the water and lands and doesn't really do anything other than it's just really cool to see. But it is
Freaky.
the thing is massive.
I don't want to
man.
go in the water on that. I'm getting chills, man.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah. So that's why I mean there's a lot of cool weather and Battlefield games and other games, but I've never seen a game that that included its weather to alter the entire play style
Right.
like that. And I just thought it was so brilliantly done.
It was really brilliantly done.
Yeah. So we'll see if Battlefield 1, the map we got to play had a sandstorm and
that
the way they had
sandstorm, yeah.
So we'll see if a lot of levels, if there's a level that really
Stands out like
stands
this
out
one.
like that. Yeah. So
I'd like to see a blizzard.
I would as well.
Yeah.
A really, really heavy blizzard. You
Yeah.
know, your guy is moving slower. You know,
With
because
an
it's so cold.
avalanche.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really cool things you could do. So
What World War I location took place in snow lands?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
We'll have to look it up.
I'll have to look it up.
So
We're
that was
going to go look it up.
So that was a good list.
That was a good
It was
list.
pretty close. I mean, usually your list like blow. I mean, not.
Thanks.
No, no, your list blow me out of the water is what I was going to say. And but this is pretty good. Your wave race beats my TNC Surf designs.
Well, only because it was like one little stage of like trying to surf on a.
True.
Yeah.
Depth beats Jaws.
Okay.
Aquaria and Subnautica, I think, are even.
It's a play style. It's a play
Yeah.
style choice
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I don't know Dead Island, but in Final Fantasy 14, I'm going to give that one to myself.
If you want to get in and like decapitate a couple of zombies and like play 30 minutes and like have a lot of fun in 30 minutes of time, Dead Island's a good game.
Right.
If you want to pay money to play a game every month
Yeah, that's true.
and do those really sick Guardian battles.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Bismarck.
Yep. Oh, Bismarck's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Heavy Rain sounds awesome. Like I really would like to play that game in Battlefield. I think I'm going to call this one a draw. I think you and I came even on this one.
I think it's not a competition.
It's not, but I like going through it to see who had because sometimes I pick some really odd choices, but these were actually some really really good games.
This is a fun month or
Yeah.
fun week to do.
No, it really was.
Just like last week, I had a lot of fun coming up with.
yeah. Except for
Fire
Ren and Stimpy.
I'm never gonna let that one go.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
I get Dead or Alive beach volleyball because
Yeah,
it's
come
just
on.
you think of it, right?
I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who was like, I can't believe for beach I didn't mention that. It's like
we honorable mention. There you go.
It's an honorable mention.
Another one is called Abzu, which just came out. So I haven't played it, but it is. It features a snorkeling dude, like a scuba diver, like going underwater and exploring and stuff like that. So I think it'd be really cool to check out. And I saw it on Steam.
Nice.
Saw it on Steam for like $20. Might be worth checking out.
And Risk of Rain as well, right? And you say
Risk of Rain.
Risk of Rain
Just for the title.
just
I
for
don't
the
think
title.
I don't think there's any weather in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in Florida, there's always a risk of rain.
That's true. Every single day.
That's
Even
right.
when it says 0% chance.
That means 70%.
Florida is the
chance.
only state that you cannot be fired for being wrong as a weatherman.
Yeah.
Any other state you'd be fired, but Florida you're exempt.
Can you
from
be
it.
fired for being wrong as a weather guy?
Yeah,
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
A meteorologist? Say, sorry, Ted, you were wrong about the sun coming up at 6. Gotta fire you.
Yep.
We'll go to our grab bag of meteorologists that we have, to call.
Hey Tony, you're up. Come on.
Great snow. What? It's Texas.
Shoot. What I meant to say was earthquake.
Jeez.
Good.
Yeah.
This was a really fun week.
That was
Next
a good
week is going to be awesome. We're going to have a guest on for next
Gaston?
week. A Gaston. Yeah, I love it when you do that.
I do it every time.
So yeah, we're going to do that, and it's going to be good. Close out our Florida month, and it's going to be a good time. So you definitely want to check in for next week. I guarantee you it's going to be worth it. If you didn't super enjoy these 2 weeks, I think week 3 is going to be the highlights. There's going to be a lot of fun discussions going on.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to? We got to do the normal thing.
The normal thing.
Yeah, send us an email if you want to talk to us.
YouTube.
Cash Revive. Yeah, YouTube. CashRevive@gmail.com. Look us up on Facebook, Twitter at Cash Revive. Look us up on GeekStreetStation.com. We're there with our sister shows, Thirsty Gamers, and For Geek's Sake podcast. So we have all of your gaming geek needs covered. If you need a multiple podcast, talk about multiple things. So,
and if you don't want to listen to anything and like to read things,
that's right. Brian,
go to the website.
Yeah, Brian
look
does
at the
a lot
blogs.
of really, really awesome articles. He writes reviews for food eateries in games,
food and video games.
Yeah,
yes.
it's really, really cool. So,
and I'm going to start making food from video games.
And we're going to video
because everybody's doing it,
Yep.
and I want to do it too.
Yep, we're going to YouTube it. So Brian's going to
I'm
have
just
going to
eat it. I'm just going to make it and eat it.
Well, we're going to film you doing it. So not getting out of this one.
Dang.
So anything you want to say before we cheese and rice it out of here?
In order to swim, you must have flippers. That's a little taste of my D&D character. Okay,
I love it. And we'll see how many crits Ryan rolls. Ryan.
You said Ryan.
We'll see how many crits Brian rolls today, and we'll let you know if his character survives the unbelievable challenges that face him in the next hour.
Ooh.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.